In 1997, I had a 100,000 person email newsletter, which was massive, that had 91% open rates. That 90% open rate email newsletter today is now 30%, and we're good at it. That's how social worked. Now, every single part of the reach of this individual post is based on the creative excellence of it. I have 15 million followers on TikTok. I've been doing this every single day for 18 years. And anybody on here who've never been on TikTok, post something, they could get more views on that than anything I've done in my career. I really wanted to double click into that youth consumer because I think it's a little bit of a residue from a world of yesterday. Like, I think everyone here knows, like, their grandma is going ham on Facebook every day, right? So social overall has a staggering amount of actual attention in the consumer landscape. Collectively, the 7 most meaningful social networks have more actualized attention on them than any other medium, and it's not even close. And then when you talk about advertising, the next biggest mediums, streaming services, television, podcast and radio, all of their ad formats are disruptive, and it's potential reach, not actualized reach. But because of the way that social is structured, you don't know the ad's coming because it's the next piece of content. And if you have creative excellence in the thumbnail and the first 3 seconds of that creative, you have a shocking opportunity to capture actual consumer attention. So first, capturing their attention, whether it's an 18-year-old on Snapchat Spotlight or TikTok, or a 69-year-old on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube Shorts, which is crushing with 40 to 70-year-olds. They're all kind of the same game and all very different. It's based on creative excellence, best practices of creative per platform. Big mistake so many brands in this portfolio are making is they're putting the same video on every platform because they view social as distribution, kind of like old media, versus understanding that we're in a place now where organic social is the starting point for all marketing. Let the AI algorithms that the news feeds are run by give you creative testing and affirmation, and then make decisions on media amplification or interpretation. So I think it's by being native. It's like anything else. If you ask me, how do you win on Super Bowl, which I think is the best ad in marketing, from an intention buying standpoint, you can't spend $8 million and get 130 million Americans to watch 30 seconds of a video in any other medium. So Super Bowl is the best ad in marketing. The problem is, if your commercial stinks, you just wasted a shitload of money. So creative vulnerability is the biggest issue for everyone here. Organic social does creative testing at an advancement we've never seen before as an added value to the marketing you do on it. The way you win is by actually being good at it. You kind of asked me, if this was a different context, you asked me, Gary, how do we all become better basketball players to practice more and get better at it? Like the way we win here now is to win on relevance at scale. One of the big mistakes a lot of brands in this portfolio are making is they're choosing their consumers target instead of trying to win on relevance with every consumer, because most of the brands actually have that permission, but everyone's stuck in how brands grow 1991 mentality and still acting as if television is the primary distribution channel and have completely misunderstood what's actually happening on social. This is why so many people lose elections. Many politicians continue to do outdoor and television and underinvest in social and get outflanked by their competitor. This is why we've seen more upsets in the last 12 years. And it's people will be like, no, Gary, the social discourse has changed. I'm like, no, social media accelerated the social discourse change, which is a huge mistake because we're overpaying for the upper funnel distribution. And the creative that we're supporting it with, brother, is vanilla, and it's trying to be everything to everybody, which means it's nothing to no one. Meanwhile, all the upper funnel activities that everyone's trying to achieve is actually happening in social. Prime Energy drink, Beastables, Poppy, all these things that are happening. Upper funnel just means where's the attention. Television commercials is not where the attention is. People are like, what about sports, Gary? People watch sports. I'm like, they watch sports, but they don't watch sports commercials. The problem is, I actually believe half this room fully understands what I'm saying, but the internal reporting doesn't justify the behavior, and so they don't do it. For the ones that are most close to operating in social, I think you know that 3 years ago, everything changed. So the social media I grew up with was more like email marketing. Get as many people to follow you as possible, and a certain percentage of them saw every single post, right? So I've been doing email marketing since 1996 for WineLibrary.com. By the way, actually, I should do a nice little plug for my dad. Anybody that buys wine, you have to check out this new thing, which you should probably replicate for your overall business. I have a new wine text thing that is insane. I think it's kind of the new channel. So iMessage, SMS marketing is starting to emerge. So check that out, learn from it. But I launched WineLibrary.com in 1996. How many people here by show of hands have done email marketing or have been close enough to email marketing to understand it a little bit? Raise your hands. I'm just curious. This is going to land for a bunch of you then. In 1997, I had a 100,000 person email newsletter, which was massive at the time, that had 91% open rates. Because marketers hadn't ruined email yet. What I just showed you with text is staggeringly working because we haven't fully ruined commerce SMS yet. So that 90% open rate email newsletter today is now 30%, and we're good at it. And that's how social worked. And it's why it was so hard, right? Like everybody thought I had a head start, which I did, and it made it hard. Now, every single part of the reach of this individual post is based on the creative excellence of it. So people on this Zoom, I have 15 million followers on TikTok. I've been doing this every single day for 18 years. I own the largest agency in the world that does it best. And anybody on here can literally, who've never been on TikTok or been followed in their life, could set up a TikTok after this, post something, and if it was great, they could get more views on that than anything I've done in my career. So we are now in a new dawn where the individual piece of creative creates the reach. So some of you know this. On your social media personally, or on the business, if you're close enough to this, you may post something and it gets 5,000 views, and the next one gets 180,000, and the next one gets 19, and the next one gets 49, and the next one gets 8,000. This is going to lead to a nirvana of being able to measure creativity that we've all been looking for 70 years. And if you really play it out, nobody should ever do an above-the-line campaign ever again without the validation of the creative in social, ever again. Sitting in a boardroom with cupcakes and markers and some magazines to crack it and come up with the idea is like taking a horse on the highway to get to your next location. It's the creative reaching human beings because of the merit of the message. Because it's a subconscious justification of having your job. Like this is a truth that we all have to just swallow. As if your subjective opinion in the boardroom is going to have a high propensity to be right. In a world where we have these incredible tools to get creative affirmation, I say that not to razz, I say that with empathy. I understand why you're doing it, the world, but it's incredibly wrong, and it's why we're losing market share to younger brands. They don't even understand. They don't even know what that means. They're so intuitive to let the creative win in social to extract the quant and qual insights to do better marketing tomorrow. They don't even know about Don Draper. They don't know what Ogilvy is. They have no idea what Ad Age is. They don't even know what you're talking about. They don't know how brands grow, which, oh, by the way, to remind all of you, was written in 1991. Like they don't like tried and true principles of what these brands always meant many things to many people. Just do it stands for 800,000 different things. Like we're losing on relevance. We're losing on relevance to enough different consumer segmentations to actually drive our business. And we're losing by wasting money on creative and media that's not being actualized. You have smaller budgets than the CPG holding companies. You should be outflanking, but you're acting like them. So you're letting the tier below you outflank you and them. You're in the shittiest spot. They're acting like the incumbents, but they don't have the same scale, and they're getting outflanked by startups. And so we need to stop doing that. But the problem is so many of the people come from the incumbent ecosystem. So they're coming with bad strategy with less budget as it's moving quickly. And you've lost your moat at retail, and you've lost your moat in media, and it's merit-based now, and this is something everyone's trying to avoid. But we need to run into it, otherwise we're going to get killed by it. It's a rebudgeting of assets. Let me give you an example. This will help people. We think of marketing in 6 boxes. Left side is media, right side is creative, right? First tier is social, mid tier is digital, traditional digital. You guys know the difference, banners, pre-roll. Third roll is traditional, TV, radio. Of those 6 boxes, most of our clients have organic social, just creative for social that's posted organic, no media, as the smallest line item of the 6. And we think that it should be 50% of the overall budget because it makes the other 50% left for the other 5 boxes work its face off. That is a paradigm shift. That is like an atomic bomb to the organizations in this call. Because it's used now as matching luggage for the campaign that you made up on a good day and some maintenance like Happy Friday on a bad day. And it lacks the strategy and the understanding of its power. I sit with a lot of board members, a bunch of powerful business people. They'll literally sit there in the first 10 minutes and yell at me that social media is ruining society and putting democracy on its knees. And they treat it like literally like the single force of the world. We get over that. And then we go into business. And then they sit and tell me that they want to know the ROI of it for selling fucking lipstick. I'm like, you just told me it's putting democracy, religion, and youth on its knees. You don't think it can sell makeup? This is the world we live in right now. The elephant in the room is that they treat creative like yesterday. So it's people that think of ideas. When all of you need to allocate your money to creative and production for the same price that you used to pay for just creative. You used to have a creative agency and you'd give them the brief and you'd come up with the idea. And then, as you know, you'd then go pay someone else to make it, the production company. So you're paying twice to make a long form video. I believe those monies, the agency of record fee and the production of the output, get pulled together, and that gets paid to your new version of what creative is, which is a creative department that has far more people in it, but they make ads every single day. And then they extract the quant and qual data to make a bet or two if you really want to do that above the line from the creative affirmation that the below the line work did. Once people do that for a year, they realize that the below the line social work is actually driving its business, not even the above the line stuff. So I think the reason everyone is not as nimble as they need to be is they don't have enough allocation of fees for organic social. And then even if they do, they need to allocate it to volume of people capable, less parents, more children for the farm. Got it? I'm going to say it again because I want you all to win. I'm here on a karma mission. You've got to think of your creative as creative production, not creative and then production. Got it? And then once you really understand what's happening, you're getting creative testing by doing that work in addition to ads being in the marketplace. It's like, it's a beautiful model, but it's completely the reverse of what people were trained to do with brief, then idea, then bet the farm on a guess, then maybe do some matching luggage and digital and call it a day. Everybody's wasting money on that on August 14th, 2024. All of them, every single one of them. The Nike article that I'm sure you all read, there's a lot of farce in there. Yes, they bet on performance, but they're also wasting all their money on above the line. The big commercial doesn't work for anyone. Do you know that there's a mango gummy private label called Nice from Walgreens that had one TikTok go viral that was made by a human being that sold out every single pack of gummies in Walgreens nationally in 24 hours? If you go to eBay right now, which I'll do to show you all, because I'm not assuming you have eBay on your app, these are literally reselling on eBay for a massive premium on the $2. Think about the demand creation where you sell out a gummy candy in every location of a national retailer for $1.99 a bag, and There's so much demand that people are reselling them on eBay on the back of one organic post on social media. There's not a television commercial in 40 years that can make that claim. Do you know how insane that is? It's also common. I can show you 12 more examples. I believe the people in this room, our industry of marketing and business, are so underestimating organic social that the delta is more extreme than you could imagine. Cuts, the t-shirt company, does $100 million in revenue. They spend $6.6 million on organic social. There's a bunch of business people here. Let me say that nice and slow. They do $100 million in revenue. And by the way, here's the funnest part of the story. They went from 0 to 100 in 4 years on the back of this model. So not only did they doing 100, they've created $100 million in sales, and they spend $6 million on just organic social. Poppy has built on this. I'm sure you're all aware of that. I can go on forever. Emma Chamberlain Coffee. I can give you unlimited things that have gone from 0 to 50 million. Cakes, the bra company. Organic social. We are saving clients millions of dollars of media effectiveness by only spending media after creative excellence. I'm getting a lot of our clients to fund. Let me say this. I believe every Fortune 500 company and really 5,000 company, that the magic line is $5 million a year on organic social. Now, of course, if your entire budget's $7 million, that's not going to be right. Like, there's a bunch of different things, but we're talking 20. We think that on a bad day for a private equity firm of this size and scale, 25 to 30% of the overall marketing budget should go to organic social. First of all, on a good day, you're 80-20 overall on your media and creative. And a lot of you have gone so mapped out that you're 90-10. And then on that 10 or 20 that's left, organic social of that mix is getting 5 or 10% of that. So the delta is enormous on how we see it. But the reason we believe you should spend 25% on organic social is it saves you a fortune on your media effectiveness. All of you are this is going to be the biggest head nod that I know. You know on your heart of hearts that you're spending real media money amplifying shit creative. And that is even crazier when I know that media is being spent in channels that is not actualizing the reach that you're buying where the social channels are. So not only do I think if I bought this company and took all the brands that we would get 30% to organic social, the other 40% would go to social media. And the last 30% would to be amplify above the line of the creative that over-indexed it in social. I see some of you are taking notes. There's 2 startups. You should investigate them. Cargo and Space Pack. They're converting organic social creative to OTT commercials frictionless. Mary Ruth's Organic, maybe something that people look up to as doing well. Shark Ninja, Liquid Death, every brand that's winning. Social organic, social media, conversion of the creative that is winning in social to above the line. Most of the brands represented in this room do none of those 3 things. Brand is precious to begin with. You go into luxury and the obnoxiousness goes out the fucking yang, right? So I don't know how people don't understand the following. All it is the same old thing it's been since 1957. It's, do people see it and do they like it? And luxury brands continue to have decided, hey, let's use Instagram like it's Vogue 1986. And people are very bored by that photo. They like it. It's part of the mix. But this obsession with the grid being pretty and aesthetically pleasing, the obsession with the creative director that you're working with, making the approval for the post. I mean, we're acting like it's a newspaper. We're treating social literally like it's a magazine. And meanwhile, and you're going to love this one because you definitely know this is true. Meanwhile, most of the most prestigious luxury brands in the world, all the bougie ones, they use streetwear brands for relevance. LVMH is going to streetwear brands that are winning on social, not the other way around. Those brands say yes every time because they're LVMH. So relevance is the elephant in the room. I feel like this is absolutely true for the same thing. The stuff that's bought on social, why do you think all these like schemy jewelry dealers are all over Instagram? They're selling $1 million watches on one post. You know, I think we just defined it in a way in our mind that is hurting us. And by the way, this is historically true. Go read why Procter & Gamble, like really read. Like you have to go to the library to get this content. It's not even on the internet. The biggest transition in the biggest brands in America, in the history of America, was the transition from radio to television because people held on to the medium of radio too long. There were too many brands that still were romantic and thought that TV was a lesser than medium. And right now, almost everyone thinks social media is a lesser than medium, and it's hurting them. You're going to love this. In my little tiny agency, I have 137 people whose full-time job is to look at the analytics, both quant and qual, of what the newsfeed is doing for all 7 platforms. 137. I have 2,000 employees. Think about that sheer scale of how big of a deal this is for me. And how does that show up? We know that on Instagram, the thumbnail needs to do this. And on TikTok, if you did that, it would hurt you. And so you need to use this slang. Or we know that you need to do a carousel ad right now on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like it's just understanding that they all act differently. Remember, this is about extracting subconscious out of everyone. It's deeply in most marketers' subconscious that you make creative and then you use media to amplify it. You've never thought for 70 years of how good is the creative, and it has to be that good so it actually gets to people. That's not how the game was played. There was no merit in it. Now it's all merit, especially if you want to save a fortune on good media spend. So, you know, how do we do it? We look at the quant and qual data. We analyze absolutely everything. Like, so here's my Instagram, right? If you look carefully at this post, it's a thumbnail first. We're literally looking at the colors of the word they. We're analyzing everything. You then go into it. We're paying attention to what the first words are. Should we be using this new feature? Notes, right, is what it's called. We're going, you know, and then you're looking, I'm clicking insights. Then I'm looking at the actualized reach, 118,000 in this scenario, only 8% was new people. So now I'm trying to market to my core. You're going to love this talk because this is real business talk. I'm marketing to my core consumer, my target audience, but then I'm also reaching new audiences. Then I may look at something and say, so this one right here, image, very clear. This one I bet you did well. Sure enough, look at this number, did well, but even look more deeply. This is what I was alluding to. I was hoping this would be the case. Look at that, 50%. I know right now that images, the reason I did that is I know right now, and my company knows, that images are reaching a higher propensity of new users than videos. That might be good for some of you in this company to know about your brand. Some of you are trying to reach new consumer segmentations. So, by the way, instead of you telling me that you're trying to age down, what if the insights showed you that you need to age more Hispanic? We are doing this fully backwards, brother. We have the greatest tools of all time, and we're treating it like, you know, it's like those adages of not knowing how to use a tool. Like we have a Lamborghini and we're using it as like a planting pot. Think about the business I just broke down. I showed you a piece of creative that might have led to me thinking that I need to be marketing to Hispanics instead of me saying cliche in a business meeting or getting Bain and McKinsey to tell me I need to get younger. No shit. Like, who doesn't need to get younger, right? Like, we know that. Like, thanks. Creative unlocking all the answers is an unheard of reality for the way we all grew up. But we all talk about AI, and meanwhile, the most important AI in the world is sitting right here. It's the AI that runs these algos, and we completely are dismissing it. CAC versus community management. So community management is customer service. Like, where can I find this? Walmart. Right? We all know that game. That's 2006. CAC has been our explosion. For the people here that really live on, how many people here use TikTok, like as a human being, like they're in TikTok? You're going to really resonate with what I'm about to say. As you've all seen, what started happening in TikTok about 2 years ago and really last year is the viral comment per post is almost more important than the post. We call this CAC, comments as creative. So we do both when we're in a retainer mod. We pay attention and try to take out fires or give information. But I would say that's 15% of our energy. Like, that's kind of like fine maintenance, right? Go to the dentist every 6 months, make sure you don't get cavities. The big upside is CAC. For some of the brands here, I'll give you, for instance, if Banana Republic wanted to get younger and cooler, if they just went to 100 influencers a day or cultural things that were hot and left a banana emoji as a comment, they would be cool in 6 months. That's just like, think about the empathy I have of like what I'm laughing inside my own head right now. I'm like, man, the fact that that's true, you want to talk about something that is like completely foreign to the way marketing's been done. It's just, we're in a very new world order. And we're living in a time right now where the stakes are high, because I think you can all feel this. You're seeing it in your different sectors. The separation of the have and have-nots are getting pretty extremely fast. We do not have the, I implore you to take this conversation seriously and speed up the process of figuring it out. There's nothing good of not adjusting. I think we're stealing this endorsement. Like, you can literally time some of these kids 6 months before their macro. The shit I did with CJ Stroud, I mean, it's crazy. And you can even do some things where you get the rights for when they're even in the league. It's nuts. Like, usage rights. Like, it's one of the most fertile grounds of success, but similar to Super Bowl, it's also a fertile ground for garbage. So, couple things. It's gonna be hard to ruin because it's word of mouth influencer marketing. It's at such scale. You know this. Every year there's another attractive athlete or another great athlete or another drama story or another, you know how it is. So that's good. When I treat NIL and influencer like a media buy. I'm agnostic. I don't think influencers are good or bad. I think individual influencer deals are good and bad. Right? I treat Beyonce's price the same way I treat, some girl, Alex Earl, when she was on the come up. It's either going to be a good deal or not. She wants 50K. That might be 5 times too little. She wants, and then a month later, she wants 800K and it's 2 times too much. This is all of what I've been telling you is why I titled my new book this. This is what I do for a living. You're day trading. It's just moving too fast, brother. You know what I mean? The algorithms are changing and the input, so it's all about the nimbleness of, so I love NIL. Keep going. The fact that you asked about it, I would actually tell you to triple down on it, but similar to the analogy about getting good at basketball, get better at it. By the way, Zach Rubin on my team. So I have a sports agency. We rep Sauce Gardner, Aiden Hutchinson, Kirk Cousins, like a bunch of baseball players, UFC, but we have a marketing division that is a leader in NIL. I'd be happy to have you pick Zach Rubin, back to the same reason I'm here, karma. Zach would be thrilled to just give you the lay of the land and what to watch out for and what to lean into. I'm sure he'd be thrilled to get business for VaynerSports, but he's thrilled when I send him the note, he knows first show up as a friend. It's not obsolete. It's actually best practices. You save your media budget post creative performance. I'll give you, for instance, there are brands that I've mentioned here earlier in my rant that are spending $3 to $5 million amplifying one organic piece of social creative. Yeah, so the way we see the world, brother, whether it's performance or brand amplification, is don't guess. Let the AI do the work. And as soon as it hits, amplify it for either brand purposes or performance purposes. I always like performance because then it eliminates the cynics. They get off my back real fast. When your CAC goes from 49 to 13, I go from he's full of shit to he's a genius. But it requires that upfront investment. But unlike Super Bowl, where you're in deep trouble if it doesn't work, you have a whole year and a trillion pieces of creative to get to pay dirt. I think that first part, you have to be careful because this is how the industry scores things. It might have paid off as an internal ad age darling. This is what is happening. Brother, I can tell you because I'm paying real attention, it hasn't paid off. There's no real human beings that know about it. Just the industry talks about it. This is why Cannes Lions is a joke. This is why ad age is a joke. Like, we do shit in our industry for our industry, not for the consumer. We've got to get out of this era. We're going to get hurt. So, look, I think high production has a place. I'd like to do it after we have such creative affirmation that we feel a lot better about spending $200,000 to make a video. I'll give you an example. If a grandfather's just making a grandson feel a little bit better by telling stories about the 40s and 60s, and the kind of tagline is this too shall pass with a nice glass of wine. I'm just playing here a little bit. Let's say that's what we did. And it cost $1,900 to make a piece of content like that, hourly fee, how it was done. It's that easy, truly. It doesn't, like, that's what's so scary of how cheap videos can be if you think in this way, not in TV. Even if it was $5,000, nonetheless, it's posted. Let's say it hits. Next, you make an image, like I just showed you from my account, that also has a grandfather-grandson thing. We're also doing all sorts of other things for sommeliers, for distributors, for restaurateurs, moms, dads, young women. I mean, you're just playing, right? When we take and analyze our analytics and we see for 3 months this grandfather-grandson thing works, you can imagine why I'm much more confident to then go into brief and make a 30-second video that might run on OTT on Amazon Prime for people that buy Riedel glasses. I mean, that's business, what I just talked about. I think that made sense to everybody. I'd like to think that made sense to everybody. Like, I talked about the creative process. I talked about the humility while we're doing everything else. This one clearly has hit a pay dirt. Then I'm talking about distribution of the media spent against first-party data that makes sense. People buying Riedel on Amazon.com will see the ad on Amazon Prime ads and have a higher propensity to convert. The creative has a higher chance to convert because it's been affirmed. This is a model that people are not doing. And we're going to lose to those. We're going to lose. We're going to lose. Surfside played a different model than Truly did. Like, I don't know how people don't see it. We are finally starting to show people the how to do this. It's more people that cost less money to do more stuff. Like, stop paying creative directors that make $580,000 who don't even have social media on their phone to come up with a tagline like it's 1974. Stop doing that. All these taglines are all the same stuff. I can come up with a Silver Oak tagline right now on the spot. You know, like, brilliant smoothness for every day. I mean, just like, it's all the same shit. Literally, if I brought out ChatGPT and did a good prompt engineer, I'll give you 13 great ones. Enough. It's over. Great. I do not want to be the yellow pages with search engines in our face. I don't want to own 800 medallions for taxi cabs in New York with Uber entering the market. Like, you've got to change yesterday. Organic social, get educated. This is a rah-rah for an hour. I need 10 hours of you putting in the work to, like, really cross the T's and I's of what I'm saying here. You just need one net creative production team. There's strategy, creative, project management, analytics. There's, you know, if it's a marketing team, paid is in it. And so it's a fully functioned diamond, full team. Every single part of the equation is equally as important as the other. And then there's a framework of consumer segmentation, there's platform strategy, and then you post and you go on your merry way. It's not complicated, but to your point, it's very complicated because it's a new model that people can't look to yesterday for, and they're always scared to try something new or don't understand it. But I can't do it in a minute, and I've got to go to another meeting. And I honestly, visually over 4 slides, and we're happy to do it. Like, again, I'm trying to, like, just to give even more clarity of what I'm doing here, I'm trying to collect people. I'm going to build the biggest private equity firm in the world. over the next 30, 40 years? By building a marketing infrastructure to be the operating system for all the companies. And so I'm in the first chapter of building the operating system. But one of the reasons I do stuff like this for companies like this is some of you might be my partners in the future or do things together. So we're thrilled if like there's some business to be done, but like client service businesses are garbage. Like, I just want good for anybody I come across. This is a very important conversation. Please don't take it lightly.